welcome back to Bassing with Brandon. I'm up in Indian Mounds again today. This is part 3 of this series. Part 1, I fished the morning in Housen, and then I moved up here for a couple of hours into Indian Mounds. The majority of fish I've been catching have been shallow, so this red shaded area is 8 foot, and that's the depth range I'm going to be focusing on. So I started in this pocket, this arm up to the middle of your screen right there that's highlighted on part 2 of this series. Today I'm going to move into this arm to the left of that. As you can see, a pretty good bit of that is shaded red, so I'm going to stay focused in that area basically. So I'm starting off the morning again with a fluke and weightless swim bait, running along this shoreline and working my way out to the 8 foot depth range. So you see that shoreline grass out there. It's been holding fish in these areas pretty good. But there is hydrilla out to 8 foot, so you don't necessarily have to have that bank grass to be catching fish. So a lot of fish were right up next to the bank. A few were out deeper in that hydrilla. But in these shallow pockets like this, you didn't necessarily have to throw at the emergent grass or at the shoreline. Sometimes they would be just kind of out in the middle of these pockets. Like I cast this one out in the middle of that little flat back there. Also, when there was water up around the bushes and trees, sometimes you needed to get your bait as far up in there as you could. I saw some fish on the back side of these trees in just inches of water. And every one of these little cuts like this that just indented in off of the bank, just about every one of those had 2 or 3 fish in it. A lot of those were right against the bank, but some of those would be right in the middle of that pocket back where it gets shallow. So after fishing in this arm, I moved out around up to these smaller arms over here. And there wasn't as much hydrilla in these pockets, but there was still fish along the banks. Not so much along the banks as in the little cuts along the banks. Anytime you found some little slack water like this, there was a couple of fish in there. So after fishing in these smaller arms right there, I moved down the lake, and I actually went too far. I intended to stay in Indian Mounds, but I guess this would be considered the mouth of Housen. But I fished up in this pocket right here, and running the same pattern, staying shallow with a fluke and a swim bait. All right, so that's going to do it for today, guys. I ended up catching about 30 fish today, all on that fluke and weightless swim bait. So this area of Toledo Bend is loaded up with fish on the beds. Most of them are buck bass, but those females should be moving in soon. So best of luck to you, and I hope to see you next time.